Good morning, friends. It's Sandra Clay. I'm the pastor at Cooks United Methodist Church. And this is not early morning light, but the morning light here in Wilson County is absolutely gorgeous. And so I hope that your heart is as joyful as the cicadas seem to be around me, for this is a glorious day. It's one that God's entrusted to us, and what a great way for us to begin by sharing it together. I want to say a welcome not only to those of you who are regular community members with us, and I believe we are kind of a community hanging in there with it. We've learned to recognize each other's names so much that, isn't it interesting that we've never even met? Many of you have never met before, but you see each other's names and you're beginning to imagine what those lives are like. So thank you for praying for each other and for considering yourself a part of this community. Okay, so if you are just now joining us or finding a video posted later, like us, follow us, subscribe to us, whatever you need to do if you're curious about what you hear. And if there's anything that we can do, that I can do personally, that someone whose name you see on the screen, don't hesitate to reach out to them. That probably just made some of y'all really uncomfortable. But I'm telling you, we're all in this together. And if Cooks United Methodist can do anything for you, if we can pray for you about something specifically, stand with you as you face something, we really want a chance to be companions with you on this journey. And the best way we know how to do that is to call ourselves into account and start in God's Word every day. And so whether it's morning or whether you find us later in the day or whether you try to catch up all in one day, I know there are some of you like that. We're going to tackle some very special things, I think, this week. So Paige, one of our longtime friends, Paige W, has made a list of some verses that she wanted to explore as she's growing in her discipleship. And one of those is verse 6 of Psalm 96. But I've been reading that psalm in the last couple of weeks, really letting it kind of settle into me. And I think we may need to do the whole psalm. I do know we need to do the first 6 verses. So we'll see where this is going to go. But I know that 1 through 3, verses 1 through 3, we're going to tackle this morning, and then we'll do 4, 5, and 6 tomorrow and see where we go. Hey, Ellie. I'm so glad to see you and Miss Jennifer together. What a great day. So here are the first 3 verses of Psalm 96. Oh, before I read them, let me say this is one of the Psalms that we don't attribute to David. We have no indication that they came from David's heart or mind, and there are many, many that are attributed to him. But it's surprising because of the way it begins. And so we're not sure who the psalmist is, but I hope that you can let this sink into who you are today and that it shapes the rest of your day. Here we go. First 3 verses of Psalm 96. Sing to the Lord a new song. Sing to the Lord all the earth. Sing to the Lord. Bless his name. Share the news of his saving work every single day. Declare God's glory among the nations. Declare his wondrous works among all the people. It sounds like a call to worship. Those first 3 verses really are kind of a call to worship, but it's a call to worship that's beyond what happens in the sanctuary. In the first 2 verses alone, sing to the Lord is written 3 times. Music is important, is it not? I don't know what music sends you, if there's a particular beat or a particular genre that just kind of, I mean, your body feels the rhythm as soon as you hear that. For me, it's a little different every day. Not so much about what my mood is, but what I'm ready to receive and what I need to express. And so we recognize that the Lord, that name used for God is Adonai, which is master, the one who rules me. And that's not something that we normally would If we're stuck in slave or servant mode, singing our boss a song is not really what we think of when we're thinking in earthly terms. And so this admonition 3 times to sing to God, that makes church people uncomfortable. Let me explain why I say that. It's because I've been around church people all my life. I've been responsible to some degree for church people for 26 years now in pastoral ministry. And some of y'all don't like to sing. Y'all so afraid your pewmate's gonna hear what your voice sounds like that we have squelched time and again this that childlike love for making music to God. And so maybe your challenge today should be to not worry about what anybody else might hear or think about what they hear, and just pretend it's that song on the radio when you were a teenager and you got to roll the windows down, stick your feet out, or at least sing at the top of your lungs. But don't just sing any song. Did you hear what the psalmist said? Sing a new song. That's another indictment, I think, for the church. If we're not very careful, don't we sing and say the same old things all the time? Now, I don't mean literally we pick the same hymns to sing, although that's a temptation, and I confess it, because the songs I would pick really do make my heart sing. But what I mean is, whatever the song you're making up, whatever it is that you would write the lyrics to communicate, whatever melody comes from you, it's only a true gift to God when it's a new song. It's the song about where you are right now. It's the gratitude and the thanksgiving that you offer right now. And some of us are singing the same old tired song all the time, forgetting the power that can connect us when we open ourselves up and when we freely give to God that way, to make melody, to make our words into a song of gratitude and praise and thanksgiving to God. And so make music to the Lord. Sing to Him a new song, and sing all the earth. Now, it's easy right now for you to imagine the cicadas making up a choir, because they do during this season. We don't have problems with imagining cardinals and cranes doing the same thing, but what about clouds? What does it mean for all the earth? It's not just the people in the earth. We do all have a song in our soul, Hoss. That's exactly right. And I think you are the best one to be able to say that. I don't know if y'all have seen Hoss play the guitar and sing at our 5:30 worship videos, but give it a shot. Last night was great, by the way. But the thing is snails and sardines have a song to offer too. I can't tell you that I've heard a snail song before, but there's no reason the psalmist would call for all of the earth to be able to make music in the way each creature or each creation could do that. But phlox and lantana and fox and your own fur babies, earth, all of the earth, God is the one who dreamed of it and made it. And so every part of creation has something to offer by way of music, out of gratitude and thanksgiving to God. This is such a joyful psalm calling us all to offer those kinds of blessings. And that's exactly what the next phrase is to bless His name. Remember last week when we were talking about Psalm 68, the call to bless the Lord, we have to remember that blessing someone, blessing another, is about offering gratitude and reverence and wishing the very best for. It's an exchange with that other person. And so when we think about blessing God, it's a kind of it literally and figuratively means to kneel. But can you think about bowing your heart and your mind when you hear the name of God? Sometimes hearing the name of God has become as commonplace as watching people wear a cross as jewelry. and we get accustomed to it and we whiz right by it. But to bless his name is to think about who God is, and that God is that God is with you right now. Bless his holy name. I want to say another word about name. Albert Tate is a wonderful preacher. He has spoken at the Global Leadership Summit that the Global Leadership Network offers every year, and I heard him just a couple of weeks ago, little less than a couple of weeks ago, and he reminded me that name is nature, especially in the Old Testament, well, sometimes in the New. Abram became Abraham because of the change, the shift in his relationship with God. Jacob becomes Israel, and there's a reason, because Jacob was a striver. I mean, he was a schemer, and his name was changed to Israel. Saul in the New Testament, the one who hunted down Christians, I mean, he was squashing this way that followed Jesus. Saul became Paul by Jesus' own choice. And so name is nature. And so when we bless the name of God, you can't do that unless you are bringing to mind the very nature of God and how God has been God to you, for you, right here in your presence. And then the last verse there, well, actually the last of the second verse, the last phrase there, and then all of 3, we've got some work to do, y'all. So there are actually 3 things that we're told to do, or called to do. I'm just going to warn you, this is going to make, it sounds pretty when I read it, but this is hard work for us. But if you love God, if you're convinced that God loves you, then we can do nothing less than these things. The first is to share the news of his saving work every single day. Now, does that mean share the news every single day? Or share the news that every single day there is an experience of God's salvation, God's rescue, God's deliverance in our lives? Well, that would be yes and yes. It's both. If you are convinced of God's love, then we talk about it just like we talk about our new favorite place to eat, that new movie we saw, or that new Netflix thing that we're watching, or a new something that we're using to help keep the kids occupied at home. We talk about those things with the people who mean the most to us. What greater gift could we give than to talk about how God is rescuing us? So let me just say, share and proclaim, they mean tell confidently about the news of salvation. That's not that God does. It's how God has for you. That's the only story you got to tell, friends. Don't be trying to tell somebody else's story. Everybody knows a faker. And it doesn't mean anything if it's not something you haven't experienced yourself for the same reasons we just talked about with a favorite restaurant or a new movie. Talk about what God has done for you. That means if you've got something to say, it's because you know God has been present and active with you, trying to help you figure out life on this side of glory. That's good news, my friends. It doesn't have to be a dramatic story. Maybe it's about the delight you found in, anyway, forgive the extra here, but so my dogs love to play with the cicadas, who are absolutely exhausted after a busy night. They find their way, the cicadas find their way to the security lights on the back of the house, and then when they get so tired they just can't do anything else. They're just kind of laying on the ground. So that's the first place the dogs want to run when they get to go out first thing in the morning. And then there's this dance. They nudge them with their nose, and then those wings start, and that horrible sound. and then everybody's excited. Tell your story about what God has done for you, and people will know the delight, the confidence, the deliverance that you talk about, and they will find hope that it can be true for them too. Tell confidently, proclaim, share the good news of God's salvation, God's rescue, God's delivery. And then that last verse, declare God's glory among the nations, declare his wondrous works among all people. I want to start, y'all know I'm a backwards girl, so let's start at the very end of those phrases. All nations and all people is a surprise, because God was shaping Israel to be a very peculiar people, a very distinct nation. But he calls us to tell everybody, to tell all nations, to declare God's amazing works to everybody. So another indictment against the church that we often have to wrestle with. So many folks argue, I've heard it many places that I've been, so many folks argue against global mission efforts because we got so much to take care of right here in our own backyard. You are right. We have plenty to take care of right here in our own backyard. And when we mobilize to do that, then we become neighborly. But what about those places in the world that don't have the kind of neighbors who will tell them about the power of God and then live that power out in the way that they love and come to their rescue? It's both, my friends. So how is it that you, or how is it that your church, how is it that we, the body of Christ, are telling all people, not just the ones who already know the story, but tell everybody about God's amazing deeds? A couple of things: declare God's glory and declare his wondrous works. Glory, well, first of all, the Hebrew word for glory I can't pronounce. It's very akin to the Greek word for glory. And so in the New Testament, the word doxa, D-O-X-A, I love saying that word. That's as close to James Earl Jones as I'm ever going to get. But the doxa of God is about this indescribable beauty, abundance, majesty, life right before your eyes, and we are that glory. It's not just how beautiful the mountains are or how amazing cicadas are or our own little fur babies. It's about us being the glory too. It's everywhere. So we ought not have any shortage of things to talk about with all peoples. Those across the globe and those across the aisle from us, whether it's the aisle in our church, the aisle in the grocery store, the hallways that we travel. And my friends, if we're not careful, this separation that we must respect between one another right now will become uncomfortably comfortable for us. And we'll separate more than just physically. We've got to be willing to talk about the glory of God and of God's wondrous works. Wonder there means abundant and beautiful beyond description, what is honorable. We've got work to do just in the first 3 verses. I hope that Monday is sometimes not the day that's the easiest to do this. And we've got big changes going on in our area today. Teachers and administrators and students are all getting going today. And so we're praying for them. But it's also grand opportunity, the newness of this day, for us to choose to sing a song to God. And that's my prayer for us today. Matter of fact, let's pray that together. that we can make the very best of this Monday that God has entrusted to us. Lord, we hear the psalmist call to us, a call to worship and to offer you the very joy that is within us because of you. You are the source of it all. And we're so scared sometimes. We're hesitant because it might not be perfect. We're busy and so we forget. There are all kinds of reasons, but they're all horrible reasons. And so I ask that those who hear my voice today would be reminded at some time, Lord, to just stop what they're doing and to make music to you, whether it's hum or sing, whether it's a favorite hymn that they have or something that you are welling up within them so that it bubbles over. Enable us to sing to you, for we are so grateful of your saving news, of the way that you deliver us, the ways that you bless us. Help us to understand how it frees us up, our hearts and our minds and even our bodies, Lord, to bless your name. Let us not hear it and rush right by as if we're talking about one other celebrity. We want you to be the very center of all that we are and all that we do. And so we choose right now, Lord, to stop and to recognize your glory, not just around us, but your glory within us. Every time we speak, every time we act, every time we make our appearance in the world around us, the glory of God is showing up. And sometimes we don't let that happen. Forgive us. We give you all the glory and all the honor today, God. And even on a Monday, our hearts can sing. By your Spirit, make it be so. We love you so much and are grateful for what you've entrusted to us today. Help us use it in a way that brings honor and glory to you. And that, dear Lord, will make us want to sing even more. Amen. Thank you, my friends. Have a great, great day. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. More 96.